South Africa, I don't know if you guys are as confused as I am. I hope I'm not the only one here. So I want to talk about these three individuals that belong to these political parties. Supposedly they are leaders, political leaders, and I'm using this word supposedly in inverted commas, simply because of the way that they behave and the way that they conduct themselves. The first one that I want to talk about is it's a recent story. Former President Jacob Zuma, he is the president of the newly formed Umkhonto weSizwe party. He formed it because he wasn't believing anymore in what the ANC stands for and all those things. That was his vision. He started the MK party with his own people and all that to bring down the ANC, to take over the government, so to speak. But here's today, he's still writing letters to the ANC, says, hey, I want you guys to reinstate me. I still want to be the member of the ANC. Now, here's the part that is confusing to me. A man that supposedly has got a vision for this country, he still wants to be a member of another party. And it's not confusing now when I look at this. It's so obvious to me that whatever that he's doing, he's not thinking about the future of this country. Jacob Zuma is 82 years old, 83 this year in 2025, and he knows that his best is there behind him. That's why he's still playing these political games of wanting to be a member of the ANC and all of that. And I'm wondering, for the people who voted Jacob Zuma, and a lot of people didn't vote necessarily for the MK party. Those who voted for the MK party, they were voting for Jacob Zuma because they believed in Jacob Zuma. And what do you think the end game is? What is it? What do you think that he's trying to do? And all I hear whenever he speaks, talk about Maibu. He's worried about what the ANC is, not so much about where the country is, so to speak. I do not know what the grand vision of Jacob Zuma for this country is. And I'm not surprised that I do not know that. It's simply because of where this man was in power for decades on end. Even this, he had the state power as a president 2 terms. What is it that he failed to do in those 2 terms that he thinks that he could do now when he's heading for, he's like 83 years old. By the time we have the next election, he'll be close to 90 years old. You know what I mean? And what is it that he failed to do? What is it that he could do now that he failed to do when he had the ultimate power, the power of the state? You know? And it's so confusing to me that here's a man who's still worried about what another political power is doing, rather than building his own and telling us as South Africans, the reason I've started this MKP is simply to take South Africa to this particular direction and all these things. So I'm frustrated. I'm confused about this. Why is he still looking at what? The way in which you manage your party, the way in which you lead your party, I think is indicative of how you lead the state, should you be given that political power. I do not trust Jacob Zuma to do that, honestly speaking. The last time he had power and all that, his son became ridiculously rich within a short space of time. There was a certain family called the Guptas, his buddies. There were certain individuals like the Shabi Sheikh who were managing him, who were his handlers, so to speak, in the way in which he managed his funds. He couldn't manage his fund. If you can't manage your own life, how can you manage the fiscus of the country, so to speak? So no wonder he's still playing these political games with the ANC, sending them letters that reinstate me. I want to hold a dual membership. I want to take over the ANC. So he's not interested in taking over the country to make it a better country. And therefore, it's difficult for me to be able to trust this man that he can be a great leader for the country. In fact, I've already seen that he wasn't a great leader even when, because he's tried and tested. We've seen what he was capable of, or at least incapable of, in my humble opinion. The other one I want to speak about is the ever so humiliated, emasculated Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi by Julius Malema and the economic freedom fighters. Clearly, Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is not wanted in that party. Julius doesn't trust him. Julius doesn't want him. And it was not even a surprise that he was not even at the conference that they had a couple of months or so ago, in December actually. So, and I'm looking at him now. There's a statement that came out that he resigned as a member of parliament, representing the economic freedom fighters. That they say in the statement, they say this is a voluntary resignation, you know. And of course, if you didn't make it to the conference and you didn't make it to the highest leadership structure of the economic freedom fighters, I think it's called the Central Command, if I'm not mistaken, definitely there's no way you can serve as an MP if you didn't make it to that list. So inevitably this was going to happen, and maybe it was the whole thing that let's not get him to conference so that he doesn't even make it to the Central Command structure, and inevitably he's gonna not be part of parliament. So all the pegs, they go away, and especially somebody like Dr. Ndlozi, who has been quiet. I'm not saying he should go and join the Mkhondozi. He's been quiet, not speaking up for himself. He's been dragged, emasculated, and all these things. He needs to speak for himself and say, hey, I'm going to remain a member of the EFF. I'm not going to stand. You know, he needs to say something. But here's a leader of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema, is speaking against this man, and he's still standing. Now, here's a leader who's indecisive. And he said he wants to be a leader. He wants to lead someday this country, you know. And he's so indecisive. He's not able, he doesn't have values, principles that he's standing on, even within his own party, you know. How can you trust him to speak truth to power if he can't speak up for himself, even within his party, you know? And when I look at these people who supposedly they want to be our leaders and the way in which they behave, even within their own parties, it leaves a lot to be desired. South Africa, we are on our own. We should not trust these people to the way in which they are being led or are leading their own parties. It's going to be the way in which they will lead this country as well. One day when they come into political power, when they take over the government, should they be given that opportunity. So we need to be wary of this type of people. The other one, I do not know if I should call him a leader, Tony Yengeni. What's his name? The Secretary General of the ANC, Mbalula, calls him what? Political Casanova. Here's a plant of the MKP pretending to be a member of the ANC. He's just probably he's just the spy for the MKP, what's happening in the ANC, and providing that information to the MKP. I suppose he understands what Jacob Zuma wants to do. Jacob Zuma wants Maibuye. That's all he's concerned about, Jacob Zuma. How to win back the ANC. How to influence the ANC. He's not really interested in building up the country. So here's this Casanova called Tony Yengeni. Apparently he's tweeting about how the MKP it's amazing and all that, and then Mbalula is going to be charging him and all that. Eventually he's going to be expelled because of that, and he could just do the decent thing, just resign and go and join the MKP like other people have done. And these are your leaders. These are our leaders, supposedly our leaders, so to speak. And that leaves a lot to be desired. Why aren't they moving on? Why aren't they just doing what they're supposed to be doing, be in their own parties, build them up or build up their brand, whatever the case may be? I mean, I'm struggling, Jacob Zuma. You know what I mean? I'm struggling with this Dr. Ndlozi as well. Why are you remaining in the EFF? I'm struggling with Jacob Zuma obsession with the ANC. And I'm struggling with, I'm not struggling so much with Tony. Tony Yengeni doesn't even have a constituency. He's not that influential anyway. I suppose that's why he's called the Casanova. So, yeah, man, help me understand here. Why are these people not moving on? So they can tell us their grand vision for this country. This country needs visionaries. This country needs people who are bold, people who are prepared to change things, not to be playing political machination within their political parties. South Africa, we don't care about that. All we care about is the economy is in bad shape. We need alternatives. We want to hear what you guys have to offer so that we can get out of this quagmire that we are in. And please tell me if I'm out of order. And I want to hear your comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And let's agree, let's disagree. It's okay. Hence, this platform is called Conversations. We are having conversations. I'm expressing my opinions, my thoughts, analysis, and then you can express yours as well. And thanks for those who are supporting the platform. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And if you have subscribed as well, thank you again for supporting us. Like and share the video as well. So hope to see you again on the next video. And then, yeah, let's catch up on the other side. Bye-bye.